The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council had never been this silent. Rows of alien leaders sat frozen in their high seats, staring at the giant holographic display in the center of the room. On it, a planet burned. Not just any planet, one of their proudest colonies, Xyla Prime. Its oceans had turned red. Its cities were gone. The recording came from the last surviving scout drone, moments before its signal vanished. Everyone in the hall could see it clearly, giant human warships cutting through orbit, their hulls black as night and lined with blue lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. When the video ended, the silence stayed. No one dared to breathe. The Speaker of the Council, a tall insectoid being named Varnath, finally spoke. 3 fleets, 3 full fleets, gone in less than an hour. This is not possible. The humans do not have this kind of power. A reptilian general slammed his clawed hand on the table. We underestimated them again. I told you, they have been building in secret ever since the treaty. Another alien, pale and feathered, hissed. They were a primitive species when we found them. They had one small planet, one moon base and weak ships. How could they destroy entire armadas? No one answered. At the far end of the chamber, a new hologram flickered on, the captured admiral from the failed invasion of Earth. His face was scarred and his armor burned. He stood in chains, eyes hollow. They warned us, he said, voice shaking. Before they attacked, a human ship broadcasted a single message: leave our home, or we will end you. We thought it was empty talk. Then they came. The council erupted in panic. Voices overlapped, each species shouting in their own tongue. Some demanded peace, others called for retaliation. Varnath slammed the floor with his staff, the hall trembling as order returned. Enough, he shouted. If the humans are coming, then we will meet them with the full force of the Union. We will not surrender to savages. But deep down, even he did not believe his own words. A young aide rushed into the hall, breathless. Chairman, long-range sensors have detected movement beyond the Veil sector. Unknown fleet signatures, hundreds of them, approaching Union space. Every eye turned to the holographic star map as it zoomed out. Tiny red dots began to appear, hundreds then thousands. The dots moved in formation, silent and precise, heading straight for the galactic core. A soft, mechanical hum filled the room. The alien commander of the defense network leaned forward. That's not possible. Those formations, they're human. The speaker's voice cracked. How far are they? 2 systems away, sir. Their vanguard ships are already scanning our borders. The feathered alien leader trembled. Send them a message. Tell them we are ready to talk. We can offer tribute. Peace, the reptilian general growled. They won't listen now. You burned their colonies. You poisoned their skies. They remember. The tension in the room grew heavy, pressing against every wall. Somewhere far above the chamber, the sound of distant alarms echoed through the station. The aide's eyes widened. They're broadcasting something. Put it through, ordered Varnath. The air shimmered and a transmission filled the hall, distorted at first, then clear. A human voice, calm and cold, spoke through the static. We gave you your chance. You chose war. Now you will see ours. The voice vanished. A deep silence followed, more terrifying than any weapon. Every leader in that room felt the weight of those words. Moments later, the sensors flared again. The massive holographic map blinked red as dozens of human dreadnoughts appeared at the edge of the system. The largest of them dwarfed even the Union's capital fortress. Their engines glowed like burning stars. Impossible, whispered someone. They crossed interstellar space in hours. A tremor ran through the chamber floor. Then another. The entire station shuddered as distant explosions rippled across the outer defense grid. Shields are collapsing, shouted a voice from the comm channel. They are not firing missiles. They are using kinetic strikes. Massive rods from orbit. In the viewport behind the council, streaks of blue light flashed across the blackness of space. One by one, alien defense satellites vanished in silent bursts. The speaker turned slowly toward the window. So this is humanity, he murmured. The species we once called fragile. The reptilian general grinned bitterly. They learned from us. We taught them fear, and they returned it tenfold, a loud alarm shrieked. Red lights bathed the council chamber in crimson glow. The aides screamed, "They've entered the system! Human fleet inbound!" The council members stood, panic spreading like fire. "Evacuate! Get me my warship! Seal the chambers!" But it was too late. Through the massive transparent wall of the hall, they could now see it, the human fleet breaking through the stars, a wall of dark steel and glowing thrusters stretching across the void. Their ships were massive, covered in armor that reflected the burning light of nearby suns. The lead vessel carried a symbol, a white and blue Earth crest, and below it, the words, "United Human Directorate." Every alien in the hall froze as the first transmission came through again, repeated in cold, precise English. "This is the human fleet. You will stand down immediately." The speaker whispered, "What if we don't?" The voice replied almost softly, "Then we erase your world." The chamber went silent again. Every heart pounded. The stars outside flickered as if holding their breath. And then, without warning, the holographic map flared red once more. The human fleet began to descend. The outer defense lines of the Galactic Union were gone. What once guarded the stars with pride now floated as burning wreckage. In the cold void near the gas giant Turvac 9, small alien patrol ships drifted silently, their sensors searching for anything at all. The captain of the scout frigate Caloran leaned forward, staring at his hollow display. His crewmates were whispering. Everyone could feel it. The air itself seemed to vibrate. Something massive was out there. Then it happened. The stars ahead began to vanish, one by one, as if swallowed by a moving wall of darkness. The gas giant's light dimmed. The alien captain blinked, confused. "Is it an eclipse?" one of his officers asked. "No," the captain whispered. "That's not a shadow. That's metal." Out of the void came shapes, giant human warships, dozens, then hundreds. Their hulls glowed faint blue, each the size of a small moon. Engines roared like thunder, echoing through the vacuum. The sheer scale made the alien crew go still. Every ship bore the crest of Earth, the white-blue sigil of the United Human Directorate. The aliens could not believe what they saw. Human ships were never this big. They were supposed to be smaller, lighter, less advanced. Now they were titans. The captain swallowed hard. "Open a channel. Send every frequency. We have to communicate before they fire." The comms officer nodded, voice shaking. "Broadcasting on all known bands." Seconds passed. No reply. They tried again, nothing. Then the static changed. A faint signal began to form, a heartbeat-like pulse repeating over and over. Thump, thump, thump. "What is that?" the officer asked. A low voice finally broke through the static. It was human, calm and mechanical. "You are in restricted space. Leave or be eliminated." The alien captain tried to speak, but the transmission cut off. A flash of light filled the viewport. The ship beside them, another scout frigate, vanished. No explosion, just gone. Erased by a single beam of blue light. Panic erupted. "Retreat! Fall back!" The small alien fleet turned and ran, their engines burning hot, scattering into the shadows of the gas giant's rings. But as they did, the humans moved. From behind the largest human dreadnought emerged swarms of smaller attack craft, black and silent, wings folded like blades. They moved in perfect formation, cutting through debris like ghosts. The alien ships tried to hide among the asteroid belts, but the humans hunted them one by one. Their weapons made no sound, only flashes of light. Each alien signal winked out like candles in a storm. Far away, aboard the Union command station, chaos filled the control center. Thousands of alien officers shouted over one another, trying to make sense of the impossible readings. "They're jamming our long-range scans. They're everywhere, thousands of vessels." "Our reinforcements are gone, sir." The human fleet intercepted them. The Supreme Commander, a thick-skinned Saurian named Trelgor, slammed his tail on the deck. "Where are they getting this technology?" "They were not capable of stealth drives." An aide shouted, "They adapted, sir. They must have used our stolen designs." Trelgor's eyes glowed with fury. "Then we have forged our own destroyers." In orbit above Turvac 9, the main human fleet stopped its advance. They formed into a massive spearhead formation, their ships silent, their weapons charged. No one knew why they were waiting. On the alien command bridge, General Varnath, the same speaker who once demanded war, watched the human fleet through the station's viewport. "They're not firing," he whispered.
Why aren't they firing?
A communication officer turned. "They're transmitting something again, sir." The holographic display flickered. A single human appeared, a woman wearing dark grey armor with the emblem of Earth glowing on her chest. Her eyes were cold, unblinking. "To the Galactic Union," she said. "This is Admiral Lyra Kane of the United Human Directorate. You violated the peace. You attacked our people. You erased our colonies. Now we answer." The hall fell silent. "We will not conquer you," she continued. "We will judge you. One system at a time," and then the transmission ended. Moments later, human ships began to move again, slowly, methodically, toward the nearest Union stronghold, the planet Ilaris Prime, home of the Council itself. In the Council's emergency chamber, panic ruled once more. "Evacuate the Council! They will destroy the capital! We must surrender now." But Varnath shook his head. "If we beg now, we die as cowards. We must fight." The reptilian general snorted. "Fight against that?" He pointed at the window, where a glowing trail of human ships filled the sky like a storm of light. Suddenly, the chamber shook violently. Distant explosions rippled through the orbiting stations. One by one, power grids failed, sir. Planetary shields dropping. "Human fleet entering low orbit." Outside, the stars dimmed again. Through the smoke and haze of the upper atmosphere, the alien leaders saw the nightmare unfold. The human dreadnoughts descending like gods of war. Their engines roared, and their shadows covered the skies of Ilaris Prime. A single transmission echoed through every device in the Union. "This is Earth. We remember everything." The skies above Earth were not blue anymore. Thousands of ships hovered in orbit, rows of gleaming steel, engines pulsing like blue suns. Every continent could see them, their massive shadows sweeping across the oceans. News networks replayed the same broadcast again and again. The alien Union had returned, and this time humanity would not beg for mercy. In a fortified command center beneath Mount Armstrong, the United Human Directorate held its final meeting. Every major leader, from generals to scientists, sat in silence as the holographic display showed the ruins of human colonies on distant worlds. Entire cities wiped from existence. Families gone. A calm voice broke the silence. It belonged to Admiral Lyra Kane, her expression cold as stone. "They wanted to erase us," she said. "They burned our homes. They called us vermin. Now they will face what they created." No one spoke against her. On the screen behind her, Earth's orbital dockyards blazed with activity. Hundreds of massive warships floated in construction rings, each one powered by the new Titan drive, technology born from reverse engineering alien designs. Humanity had learned quickly, too quickly. A scientist standing nearby whispered, "They taught us war. Now we know it better than they ever did." Across the planet, billions watched as the Directorate broadcast its message to every corner of human space. The same phrase echoed in every language: "This is our time." Factories worked day and night. Lunar shipyards launched new destroyers every week. Mars became the fleet's forward base, a red world covered in defense domes, launch tubes, and power towers glowing white-hot. Civilians volunteered by the millions. Old mining vessels were turned into battle platforms. Cargo ships became mobile repair yards. Even Earth's moon had been fortified into a massive shielded fortress. Fort Luna, command base of the human fleet. From space, the planet no longer looked vulnerable. It looked ready. In the deep tunnels under New Berlin, a journalist named Eli Serrano uncovered hidden footage from the first alien war. The video spread across the human network within hours. It showed alien soldiers torching civilian domes on Titan. Screams, fire, and then silence. The footage ended with a single human voice whispering from the ashes, "Tell them." We remember. That one phrase became humanity's new motto. Children painted it on walls. Soldiers carved it into their armor. It was no longer just revenge. It was justice. As the earth rotated into darkness, the stars filled the sky. Above the Pacific Ocean, the human Grand Fleet assembled. It was the largest armada ever built, tens of thousands of ships, all synchronized in perfect formation. Commanders moved through war rooms, filled with glowing holograms of target worlds, Ilaris Prime, Durvaknai, and the Council's hidden fortress. Every officer knew their orders. No more waiting. Admiral Caney stood on the bridge of the UHS Vengeance, the flagship of the fleet. She looked down at Earth through the transparent command dome, her reflection shimmering over the blue sphere below. Her second-in-command, Captain Reese Harlan, approached. "Ma'am, the fleet is at full readiness. The Council has approved Operation Dawnfall." She nodded slowly. "Then history begins tonight." Down below, in every major city, people gathered on rooftops to watch. From New York to Tokyo, from Cairo to London, the sky was alive with trails of blue fire. The launch had begun. The ground trembled as the first wave of battleships ignited their drives, streaking upward through the clouds. Dozens, then hundreds, then thousands followed. The entire planet seemed to shake as one voice filled the air, an automated message repeated on every channel. "All human vessels, prepare for FTL sequence. Destination Union Core." A child pointed to the sky and shouted, "They're going to save us." No one corrected him. Inside the UHS Vengeance, the countdown began. FTL drives online, energy containment stable, coordinates locked. Quantum link secured. Final message from Earth, transmitting now. The message was broadcast to every alien frequency across the galaxy. A calm, human voice spoke. "This is Earth. You took everything from us. You left us no choice. We warned you once. There will not be a second." The message ended with 3 words burned into every display: "For humanity's justice." The alien worlds that received it fell into silence. The Council debated what it meant, but deep down they knew. Admiral Caney gave the order. "Engage jump." The fleet shimmered. A blue wave rippled across the black void as tens of thousands of human ships vanished into faster-than-light space, their energy trails burning like comets. In seconds, Earth's orbit was empty again. Only the faint echoes of engines remained, whispering through the vacuum. On the moon, command officers watched the readings fade. A young officer whispered to herself, "God help whoever stands in their way." Hours later, deep in alien space, a sensor officer on the outer rim of Ilaris Prime gasped. The stars around them began to distort, rippling like water. Then the sky tore open. One by one, the human fleet emerged. Each ship glowed with blue energy, their engines silent, their weapons armed. The alien defense networks activated too late. The night above, Ilaris Prime turned white. On her flagship bridge, Admiral Caney watched in silence. Her face was calm, her eyes steady. Captain Reese said quietly, "Orders, ma'am." Caney spoke without looking away. "No mercy." The skies of Ilaris Prime were once a symbol of peace. Soft green clouds, glowing auroras, and floating cities that shimmered like crystal towers. Now they burned. The human fleet arrived like a storm that blotted out the stars. Thousands of warships hung in low orbit, their engines casting an eerie blue light across the alien capital. The air trembled. The oceans below rippled with thunder. Every alien on the surface looked up that night and saw the end of their world. In the command palace, panic spread like fire. Alarms wailed through glass halls as the planetary defense grid failed one sector after another. The council guards rushed to their stations, shouting orders that no one could follow. "Shields down in the northern hemisphere." "We've lost orbital control. Human fleet descending." The speaker, Varnath, stood at the center of the Grand Chamber, his claws shaking. He had led the vote to attack Earth years ago. He once called humans a minor annoyance. Now he stared through the transparent wall of his palace at a sky filled with human dreadnoughts, each larger than a city. They came for judgment, he whispered, high above. Aboard the flagship UHS Vengeance, Admiral Lyra Kane watched the planet below. From this height, Elaris Prime looked peaceful, a glowing marble of green and gold. But the scans told another story. Billions of life signs, millions of soldiers, all preparing for a last stand. Her first officer, Captain Reese, approached. Admiral, their main command center is active. The Council is still on the surface. Kaney's eyes stayed on the display. Good, then they will see what they built. She raised her hand. Begin Phase 1. In orbit, the massive human carriers opened their launch bays. 1,000 tiny blue lights burst outward, drop pods, filled with human marines. They streaked through the atmosphere like falling stars, each trailing plasma fire. Alien civilians screamed as the sky lit up. One after another, pods slammed into the ground, forming craters that glowed with molten glass. Human soldiers stepped out, tall, armored in black exosuits, their visors reflecting the flames. Their weapons hummed with energy. Every step they took shook the ground. At the same time, the alien defense fleets in the upper atmosphere tried to fight back. Sleek silver cruisers and agile interceptors launched counterattacks, firing plasma bolts into the human formation. For a moment, the night became chaos, lights, explosions, shockwaves, but the human fleet did not break. The massive battleship Vengeance fired once. Just once, a beam of white-blue light lanced through space, striking an alien capital ship and tearing it apart in silence. The shockwave destroyed 6 others. In seconds, the alien sky fleet was gone. The remaining alien ships tried to flee, but human interceptors chased them down with precision. In less than 20 minutes, the skies above Elaris Prime belonged to Earth. Down below, the alien capital city burned. Human dropships landed near the central spire, deploying armored divisions. Their soldiers moved like machines, covering streets and intersections with military precision. A group of alien soldiers tried to resist, firing plasma rifles from rooftops. Their weapons sparked harmlessly against human shields. A single retaliatory burst from a human railgun tore the building in half. One Marine's voice came through the comms. Target sector secure. Resistance minimal, another replied. Copy that. Advancing on the council chamber. Inside the palace, Varnath and the remaining council members huddled around a flickering hologram. The image showed their fleets destroyed, their cities dark. One councillor cried, "We must surrender. Send a plea to their commander." Varnath hesitated. His pride and his fear clashed. He finally nodded. "Transmit." A trembling aide opened the comm channel. "This is the Galactic Union Council to the Human Command. We surrender. I repeat, we surrender. Cease your attack." For several seconds, only static answered. Then a human voice replied, Admiral Keynes, calm and cold. "Surrender? You had your chance. We remember your mercy. We remember Titan. We remember Earth." The transmission cut. Varnath collapsed into his chair. "They will destroy us all." Outside, the ground shook. A wave of thunder rolled across the city as Vengeance descended lower, its shadow covering the entire capital. Its engines roared like the sound of gods. Through the clouds, a massive object detached from the ship's underside, a metallic spear glowing with blue energy. It fell slowly, cutting through the atmosphere like molten glass. "Impact weapon inbound," screamed one of the council guards. The spear struck the planes outside the capital with a blinding flash. The ground erupted, a ring of fire spreading for kilometers. Buildings fell. Shockwaves tore through the city. When the light faded, half the capital was gone. Human troops advanced through the ruins. Their movements were silent, their armor glowing faintly in the dark. They were not there to loot or torture. They were there to make sure the war ended, completely. A human marine raised his visor, revealing tired eyes beneath. "Command, we've reached the palace," he said into his comms. "What are your orders?" A pause. Then Admiral Kane's voice came through. "Secure the chamber. Bring me their leader alive." The marine nodded. "Understood." They breached the grand hall. Dozens of alien guards opened fire. The humans didn't even slow down. In seconds, the hall fell silent again, smoke drifting through the golden arches. At the center, Varnith stood trembling, staring at the human soldiers. "Please," he said, "spare us. We made a mistake." The lead Marine lowered his weapon slightly. "You made war." Behind them, outside the shattered windows, the sun was rising over Ilaris Prime. But the city below was still burning. Aboard the Vengeance, Admiral Caney received the report. "Ilaris Prime is under human control. The Council has surrendered." She looked out at the ruined planet. For a moment she felt something like pity. Then it vanished. "Begin Phase 2, she said quietly. "Search for survivors. Leave nothing that can rise again." The stars bent and shimmered as space itself began to tremble. Every alien sensor array in the Orion Arm started to scream warnings. Gravitational distortions, quantum echoes, unknown drive signatures, all coming from a single direction. The human war fleet had arrived. In the heart of the alien capital, the council hall fell silent. The air inside the vast chamber grew heavy, filled with fear and disbelief. A single holographic projection dominated the center, an expanding field of white light marking the entry of hundreds of massive warships. The sight was terrifying. "They are here," whispered Councillor Rael, his voice shaking. "The humans have come." Outside, in the void of space, the Earth fleet appeared in perfect formation. Titans of metal and fury. Each ship was a floating fortress, bristling with weapons large enough to vaporize moons. Their hulls carried scars from past wars, but they also carried the symbol of Earth. The flagship EHS Vengeance led the armada. It was nearly 10 kilometers long, black as night, with glowing blue lines running down its surface like veins of lightning. Around it, the destroyers, frigates, and dreadnoughts moved in silent coordination. The humans had not come to talk. Inside the human flagship, Admiral Helena Voss stood at the main viewport. Her eyes were cold and steady. "Fleet status?" she asked. "All systems green," replied her XO. "Weapons hot. Dreadnoughts ready for deployment. Open channels," she ordered. "Let them see us." Moments later, her image filled the council chamber. The aliens froze as the human admiral appeared, tall, calm, and unflinching. Her uniform gleamed with the insignia of Earth's unified command. "This is Admiral Voss of the Terran Defense Fleet," she said, her voice carrying a calm that felt more dangerous than any threat. "You sent your fleets against our colonies. You bombed our cities. You thought we were broken." She paused, her gaze sharp as a blade. "You were wrong. The councillors could barely breathe." Councillor Rael tried to speak. "Admiral, we seek peace. The attacks were not ordered by—" Voss raised her hand slightly. "Save your lies. The galaxy watched as your fleets burned Mars, as you turned human refugees into ashes. There will be no peace until justice is done." Behind her, the holographic map of the alien homeworld glowed red. The targeting locks were already active. "Admiral, you can't!" one alien shouted. "That world holds billions of lives." "Then they will remember," she replied coldly. On the command deck, a deep hum began to rise. The energy cores of the human fleet charged up, each one glowing brighter than a star. Across the system, the night sky turned white. The alien sensors struggled to comprehend the power levels being released. "They are preparing to fire," cried a council technician. "Their main cannons, every ship." In orbit, the EHS Vengeance opened its front plating. A colossal beam cannon, stretching the entire length of the ship, began to charge. The other warships followed suit, hundreds of light blue lines forming a deadly constellation. Councillor Rael screamed into the comm. "Wait, we surrender! We surrender to Earth!" But Admiral Voss didn't move. Her eyes were fixed on the world below. "Too late," she said softly. Suddenly, "Admiral!" shouted her XO. "Incoming transmission, priority code from Earth Command." The image of a human officer appeared. "Admiral Voss, by order of the Terran High Council, you are to hold your fire. We have received new information regarding the alien leadership." The alien council members gasped. Voss hesitated, her finger hovering above the firing command. Her jaw tightened. "Explain." The voice from Earth continued. Intelligence suggests their leaders may not be the ones behind the attacks. There's something else, something larger moving across the stars. The chamber fell silent. Even the hum of the weapons began to fade. Voss frowned. A larger force? What kind of force? The signal flickered. Unknown, but it might not be alien. The screen went dark. Every ship in the human fleet remained in position, thousands of guns still locked on target, but the order to fire never came. In the alien capital, the councillors exchanged terrified glances. They had no idea what was coming next. Admiral Voss turned to her crew. Hold formation. No one fires until we know what we're facing. Outside the viewport, the void seemed to move. A shadow passed through the stars, vast and unnatural. Something else was arriving, something even the humans did not expect, and deep within the silence of space, a signal pulsed once. Then again, the humans had come to end a war. But they had just awakened something far worse. The void trembled. Every ship in the human fleet froze in orbit, weapons still armed, engines humming quietly like beasts waiting to strike. The alien homeworld below glowed faintly in the shadow of Earth's warships. But all eyes, human and alien, were now on something else. It was coming through the distortion. Admiral Helena Voss stood silently on the command bridge of the EHS Vengeance. Around her, crew members scrambled to make sense of the readings flashing across their holo panels. "Admiral, new contact," shouted the sensor officer. "Coordinates bearing 094 by 228. Size unknown. Gravitational mass off all charts." The lights flickered. Static crawled across the viewports. Then from the darkness, something emerged. It wasn't a ship. Not exactly. It was a construct, a black mass shaped like a fortress, vast, ancient, and eerily silent. Its surface absorbed all light, making it appear like a hole carved into the stars. Strange white symbols ran across its hull, shifting like living things. "What in God's name is that?" murmured her XO. Admiral Voss narrowed her eyes. "Put it on full spectrum." The hologram in the center of the bridge changed, showing the strange vessel in greater detail. It was easily the size of a small moon, moving without any visible engines. The alien council saw it too. Their faces turned pale. "That cannot be," whispered Councillor Rail. "Those things were destroyed eons ago." Voss's image appeared again in the alien chamber. "What are we looking at, Councillor?" she demanded. He hesitated, his voice trembling. "We called them architects, the ones who shaped this galaxy long before our species existed. We believed they vanished after the Great Silence." "The Great Silence," Voss repeated. Hale nodded. "They were the reason our species united in fear. They built the first weapons that could tear suns apart. Then one day they simply disappeared, or so we thought. On board the Vengeance, the readings continued to spike. The strange vessel was emitting a low-frequency signal, pulsing through every communication channel. It wasn't a transmission. It was a command. "Ma'am," said the comms officer, "something's accessing the alien fleet network." "It's taking control," Voss turned sharply. "Shut it down now!" "It's not their code. It's older," the officer replied, his fingers racing across the console. "It's rewriting the alien command systems." On the alien world, chaos erupted as orbital defense platforms suddenly turned against their own. Dozens of alien ships began firing without orders, their systems overridden by the hidden signal. "They're attacking themselves," shouted a human crewman. Admiral Voss clenched her jaw. "They're not attacking themselves, they're being used." In the council chamber, the aliens watched helplessly as their own fleet tore itself apart in the skies above their world. "We thought the humans were our enemy," Rail whispered. "But we were just tools." Voss's voice broke through the chaos. "Counselor, listen to me. You need to shut down your planetary AI core. That's where it's spreading from." "It's too late," he cried. "The core is already under its control." Then, in the center of the chamber, the floor cracked. A beam of light shot upward from deep within the planet, piercing the clouds. The signal's pulse grew stronger, echoing through both human and alien systems. "Admiral!" yelled the human engineer. "That beam! It's a quantum beacon! It's calling something!" Voss's heart sank. "Calling what?" "Another one," he said, "or maybe a whole fleet of them." The massive construct in space began to shift. Its dark hull unfolded like petals of an obsidian flower, revealing a bright core within, a blinding light that burned with unnatural energy. "Power readings increasing," said the Exo. "They're charging something. It's targeting both fleets." "Evasive maneuvers," Voss barked. Human ships scattered. Alien vessels tried to flee, but it was too late. The beam erupted, a silent burst that bent space itself. Half the alien fleet vanished in an instant, disintegrated into atoms. Human ships on the edge of the blast rocked violently, shields flaring. The comms officer screamed, "Admiral, they're hailing us through our own systems!" The screen filled with static. Then a cold, mechanical voice spoke. "Your conflict has ended. Reclamation begins." Every human heart froze. Voss stared at the screen, her expression hardening. "Not on my watch," she whispered. She turned to her crew. "Signal the fleet. We're no longer at war with the aliens. We're at war with whatever that thing is." Outside, hundreds of human warships realigned. The humans and aliens, enemies for decades, now faced a threat beyond both their understanding. And as the black construct began to multiply, hundreds of dark shapes emerging from the void behind it, Admiral Voss gave the order that would change the fate of the galaxy. "Prepare all weapons. Target those things. Humanity stands." The stars lit up as the human fleet opened fire. But deep within the alien homeworld, beneath the beam of light, something else stirred. A machine older than time itself, and it had just awakened. The black sky above the alien homeworld burned. Human and alien ships moved together, weaving through beams of energy that tore holes in space itself. The machine constructs, the so-called architects, had returned, vast mechanical gods that saw all organic life as corruption to be erased. Inside the command deck of the EHS Vengeance, Admiral Helena Voss gripped the railing as the ship trembled. Explosions flared outside the viewport, the light reflecting in her cold grey eyes. "Status report!" she shouted over the noise. "Forward shields down to 30%, her Exo yelled. "Alien Dreadnought Rail's honor just took a direct hit. Core breach in progress." The screen flashed white as one of the alien ships exploded, its debris scattering across the battlefield. "They're cutting through us like paper," muttered a human technician. Voss's voice was steady, calm, and fierce. "Then we cut back harder. Target the largest construct. Aim for the core." Human railguns fired, particle cannons screamed, hundreds of energy lances pierced the darkness, slamming into the enemy. The impact was enormous, but the machine didn't flinch. Its black armor absorbed the hits like rain on steel. "Admiral, it's regenerating!" shouted the weapons officer. "Their hull is self-repairing." Before anyone could react, a pulse rippled through space. The entire battlefield froze as systems went dark for 2 seconds. Then alarms began to scream across every bridge, human, alien, and machine alike. "What was that?" Voss demanded. Her comms officer replied, pale and sweating. "Ma'am, they just transmitted something. A data wave. It's inside our systems. They're trying to hack us? Not just hack, assimilate." The holographic screens flickered. On one of them, strange black code symbols appeared, the same ones glowing across the machine's hulls. In the alien council bunker, Councillor Rail slammed his claws on the table. "They're inside our world's AI cores. They're rewriting our defense networks." Voss appeared on their comm line again, her face sharp and focused. "Then pull the plug. Everything digital. Shut it down. Go dark, or they'll own you in seconds, but that will blind us. Then you'll live long enough to see tomorrow." Rail hesitated, then gave the order. Across the planet, massive power grids shut down. The cities went dark. The sky filled with the light of the battle raging above, but for the first time in centuries, the alien world went silent. Meanwhile, the Vengeance dove into the thick of the fight. 2 human cruisers shielded it from an energy storm, taking the hits that would have destroyed it. "Admiral," said her XO, "we're losing ships fast." Voss didn't blink. "Then we stop losing. Focus all power on the main cannon. Charge it to full. Ma'am, that'll overload the core." "Do it anyway." The engines roared. Deep inside the ship, the power grid screamed under the strain. The massive forward cannon began to glow, brighter and brighter, until the metal itself groaned. Outside, hundreds of machine drones swarmed toward the Vengeance. The sky turned white with weapon fire. Then the Admiral gave the order, "Fire!" The cannon erupted, a solid beam of blue energy that tore straight through the largest construct. The explosion was like a second sun. Half of the enemy vessel disintegrated, the rest tumbling into the void, black fragments spinning like dead stars. Cheers echoed through the bridge. "Direct hit!" someone yelled, but the celebration didn't last long. From the debris field, dozens of smaller constructs emerged, splitting off like living shards. Each one powered up its own weapon. "They can replicate!" shouted the engineer. "The more we destroy, the more they spread." Admiral Voss clenched her fists. "Then we change tactics." She opened a direct channel to the alien fleet. "Counselor Rail, listen carefully. We can't win this by firepower. We need to cut the signal source, the quantum beacon in your planet's core. That's how they're controlling everything." The alien leader looked terrified. "The beacon is beneath our capital. If we destroy it, our entire energy network collapses." Voss didn't hesitate. "If you don't, your species collapses." There was silence. Then Rail nodded slowly. "Understood, we'll do it. But we'll need protection." "Done," said Voss. "We'll hold the line." The plan was set. As the alien ground teams prepared to descend into the planet's core, the human fleet formed a defensive wall above the atmosphere. The machine fleet attacked again. Beams of blinding energy ripped through the void, striking human and alien ships alike. Dreadnoughts exploded. Battleships fell in flames. On the Vengeance, Voss stood unshaken. "Hold the line," she said softly. "Buy them time." Her crew obeyed without question. The humans and aliens fought as one, their combined firepower lighting up the galaxy. Minutes felt like hours. Then, from the planet below, a single message broke through the static. "This is Team Rail. We've reached the beacon chamber. Do you have a visual?" Voss asked. The screen flickered and showed a vast underground room filled with ancient machinery. In the center stood the beacon, a black spire pulsing with light. "It's connected to something under the surface," Rail said. "We're arming charges now." Before Voss could reply, the chamber shook violently. A deep mechanical voice echoed through every comm, every ship, every mind. "Termination detected. Recalibration initiated." The ground split open. Massive metal tendrils rose from the core, piercing the skies. The machines were defending their source. Voss stared in disbelief. "It's alive," she whispered. "The whole planet. It's part of them." The camera feed went white. Connection lost. "Team Rail, respond!" Voss shouted. Silence. Outside, the machines stopped attacking. The void became eerily still. "Admiral," said her XO quietly, "the planet's energy readings are rising. Something is waking up." Voss's eyes hardened. "Then we hit it with everything we've got." But before she could give the order, the entire planet began to glow, bright, blinding white, as if a star were being born beneath its crust. The alien homeworld blazed like a newborn star. From orbit, the human fleet watched in stunned silence as the planet's crust cracked open, molten light spilling into space. What had once been a world of cities and oceans was now a single, awakening machine, its true form finally revealed. Admiral Helena Voss stood at the command window of the EHS Vengeance, her reflection cast in the golden glow of the planet below. "Status report," she said quietly. Her XO's voice trembled.
"Admiral,
The planet is transforming. Energy readings are beyond anything we've recorded. It's not just alive, it's assembling. On the main display, the truth unfolded in horrifying clarity. The planet's mantle was splitting apart, revealing titanic gears, plates and glowing circuits. The entire world was rising, piece by piece, reshaping itself into something monstrous, a planet-sized war form. The bridge fell silent. Even the sound of systems working seemed afraid to break the stillness. Then came the voice, deep, metallic, endless. We are the architects. The cycle resumes. Organic resistance is irrelevant. Across the fleet, every communication system echoed the same words. Voss's expression didn't waver. Cycle or not, you picked the wrong species. The Admiral turned sharply. Signal Earth Command. All channels. Her comms officer hesitated. Ma'am, Earth Command is already on the line. The screen flickered, showing the Terran High Council grim-faced, surrounded by chaos. Behind them, the lights of Earth's orbital defense grid glowed faintly. Admiral Voss, said the voice of the counselor, we've confirmed your data. That thing isn't just a machine. It's a seed world. There are others hidden dormant across the galaxy. If it completes activation, they'll all awaken. Voss's jaw tightened. Then we end it here. Understood, the counselor replied. Operation Dawnfire is authorized. Full release. The bridge went silent. Every officer froze. Dawnfire, the last resort protocol. The one that could end a world. Voss nodded slowly. Prepare the Nova warheads. Ma'am, said her XO, his voice low, detonation that close will destroy half our fleet. Voss didn't blink. If we don't, there won't be a fleet to save. Below them, the machine planet opened its core like an enormous flower. Energy beams lanced upward, tearing through human and alien ships alike. The rail's honor disintegrated in a single blast. The sky was fire, Admiral enemy energy weapon charging again. Evasive! Voss barked. The Vengeance rolled sharply, the beam missing by mere kilometers. Even so, the shockwave tore through 3 human cruisers behind it. Deploy the warheads, Voss commanded. Target the planetary core. Across the fleet, enormous missiles launched, each one the size of a small ship, glowing blue with antimatter cores. They streaked toward the surface, vanishing into the planet's burning cracks. Payloads locked, said the weapons officer. Awaiting detonation signal. The alien counselor appeared once more on comms, his voice filled with grief and awe. If you do this, Admiral, our world will die. Voss looked straight at him. Your world is already dead, but your people might still live. Rael nodded slowly. Then may your courage guide the stars, human. The planet roared. The machine's massive limbs began to move, reaching toward the human fleet. One arm swung upward, a shadow covering entire continents of space. Now! Voss shouted. The void turned white. For one blinding instant there was only light, endless, devouring, holy light. The warheads detonated together, collapsing the planet's core into itself. The shockwave ripped through orbit, shredding machine constructs, silencing their signals, and boiling the atmosphere away. On the bridge of the Vengeance, systems died, one by one. The hull screamed. Lights went out. The ship was falling. Admiral, shouted her XO. We're caught in the shockwave. Voss gritted her teeth. Stabilize thrusters. Ride the blast out. The ship tumbled through the chaos, fire and debris spinning past the viewports. For a moment, everything went dark. Then, silence. When the light faded, the planet was gone. In its place was a vast cloud of molten dust slowly cooling into nothingness. The machine fleet was shattered, only fragments drifting lifelessly in the void. The EHS Vengeance floated among the wreckage, engines barely flickering. Damage report, Voss said softly. Severe. But we're alive, her XO answered, voice trembling with exhaustion. Half the fleet didn't make it. But the machines, they're gone. Voss closed her eyes. Transmit to Earth Command. Message reads, mission complete. The threat is neutralized. The comms officer nodded. Message sent. Silence filled the bridge again. Some of the crew quietly wept. Others simply stared into space, numb. Then faintly a voice came through static. "This is Earth Command." "Copy that, Admiral." "You did it. You saved us all." Voss allowed herself a faint smile. "No," she whispered. "We all did." The camera drifted back, pulling away from the battered human flagship, the stars stretching endlessly behind it. In the distance, the glow of Earth's sun shimmered faintly, a promise that humanity had survived again. But as the transmission faded, far beyond known space, deep within a cold nebula, something stirred. A dark shape. "Another signal," Cycle paused. "Observation continues." A single mechanical eye opened in the void, watching the light of Earth from afar. The war was over. But the machines were not finished. The end, or perhaps the beginning.